Global expertise from San Fran to China. We are core consultants, not your average miner. DSC and Daba now confined to the house. And so now we bring you core from the couch.
Hello, everybody. I'm here from Core Consultants. I'm here with Jim Rogers, who is speaking to us from his home in Singapore. Jim needs no introduction. Today he's presiding over Rogers' interests and is part of the Quantum Fund. Jim, last time we spoke 7 years ago, you gave an address called The World According to Jim Rogers. At that time, we had just come out of the economic recession. Life was good. Things were going up. Now we're heading to COVID-19. What's your take?
Well, the world has been over 10 years since the U.S. has had a recession. I'll use the U.S. since it's the largest economy. That's the longest in American history. So if nothing else, time-wise, we're overdue. Doesn't have to happen, but it always has. And now we've had a pen which popped the bubble. We've had the virus. But something would have popped it anyway. Debt has skyrocketed. Stocks got overpriced in America. They went up 10 years in a row. No, we were overdue. We found something to pop the bubble, but something else would have.
And gold is hitting over 1667 was the last time I checked, 1669 now.
Well, I didn't buy gold for a long time, but I've been buying gold again since last summer, and silver as well. I certainly am buying both gold and silver. If I were buying either today, I would buy silver because it's much, much cheaper on a historic basis.
Right. Speaking about gold being very expensive on a historic basis, so the highest it's ever been is in 2011 at $1,900, breaching that. Do you think it could break that in this?
Well, I would certainly, well, I know it will, Laura. It was $1,911 US per ounce to be exact. I owned it, so I know. It will certainly break that. It will probably the next, throughout history, when people lose confidence in governments or money, they always buy gold and silver, whether they should or not, it's irrelevant, and they will again, and it will certainly make new highs because we have serious problems ahead of us.
So why buy silver? Just because it's cheaper relative to gold at the moment, or do you think the prospects for silver are better?
I bought both gold. I bought both last week, but I'm buying more silver because silver's cheaper.
Right. And beyond this, after the virus, what happens? Do we see recovery? We've seen governments go in.
No. Well, most governments are making a serious mistake. If you ask me, the U.S. doesn't really care about the long term. There's an election in November. Trump and the rest of them all want to get elected. The U.S. is already the largest debtor nation in the history of the world, and it is staggering the amount of money they're printing and the amount of money they're borrowing. I feel sorry for young people. I mean, if any young person, including you, this is going to be terrible down the road. I've got two young daughters. Ooh, it's going to be bad for me, and I'm much older. But what they're doing, and not just the U.S., oh my God, the Japanese, they're all doing horrible, horrible things for the future of their countries and the future of the world. For what it's worth, China is doing less horrible things. They still have interest rates in China, and the Chinese government has spent some money, but nothing like the Japanese or the Americans or some other people. No, this is going to leave a terrible, terrible problem for the world.
Well, maybe just on that, what should they have done instead? We saw in the recession that they had quantitative easing, Q1, Q2 in the case of Europe, printing money, for lack of a better word, lowering interest rates. The response has been much the same to this virus from an economic level, lowering interest rates. We will see, I'm sure, more quantitative easing. What do you think they could have done differently or should be doing differently?
They did the same thing in 2008. In 2008, at least there were interest rates. Now interest rates are zero all over the world. So monetary authorities don't have much scope for lowering interest rates, but they do have printing presses, and they're running those printing presses. Laura, throughout history, we've had recessions. Recessions are not fun when you go through them, but they clean out excesses in the economy. They've always happened. They have been good for the economy in the long run, like a forest fire. Forest fires are horrible if you're in them, but they clean out the underbrush, they clean out the dead wood, and the forest can grow better after the forest fire. Now, I want to repeat, recessions are not fun to go through, but they're good for the world. Unfortunately, the past few years, several years, many Western countries have refused to let nature take its course, and they have printed and they have propped up failure. The way the system is supposed to work, when people get into trouble, competent people come, take over the assets, and reorganize and start over. Now, in America and Europe and Japan and other places, the way the system has been working is when the people get in trouble, the government takes the money away from the competent people and gives it to the incompetent people and says to them, okay, now you compete with the competent people with their money. Propping up failure has not been a good system ever in the history of the world, but we keep doing it, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. What they should have done is let nature take its course. I don't like recessions any more than anybody else, but propping up failure, I can give you examples. You know, the Japanese did it in 1990. It's 30 years later. They're still suffering. The Japanese stock market is down 60%. 60, that's not a typo, since 1990. Scandinavia at the same time had a similar problem. They let people go bankrupt. They had a horrible 2 or 3 years, but Scandinavia's been great for the past 30 years. In 1920, America had the same problem. You know what they did? They raised interest rates. They balanced the budget. They had very, very bad 2 or 3 years. But then they had the best economic decade in the history of America. I mean, history is pretty clear. Propping up failure does not lead to great futures.
So where do you see sort of, I'd say, pockets of opportunity in these economies? We've got huge debts. We're going through recession now.
I own a lot of U.S. dollars, mainly because, not because the U.S. dollar is sound, but because people look for a safe haven in times of turmoil. And compared to the most other currencies, it is less bad, or people think it's less bad. So U.S. dollars, I own a lot of. I own China, I own Russia, I own agriculture, I own gold, I own silver. I told you I bought more silver and gold last week. There's always some opportunity. I have a few shorts. There are always a few opportunities, no matter what's going on in the world.
It's been said that after this, we will see the biggest rise in an economic history, bigger than what we saw when China urbanized, the start of the Chinese urbanization. So this economy should return more millionaires than what we've had an opportunity in the past. That's what some of the commentators are saying. Do you agree with that sentence?
Well, we're going to have a big rally in the financial markets because, first of all, we had extraordinary pessimism. Even pessimism was worse a month or so, a few weeks ago, than it was in 2008, 2009. So whenever there's huge pessimism, when everybody's on one side of the boat, you should go to the other side of the boat, at least for a while. And that's what's happening, and is going to happen. We're going to have a huge rally, but we're not finished with this, Laura. You know, there's a lot of economic damage that has been done. Huge amounts of debt have been and will be built up. No, this is not over yet. It's going to get worse. I mean, everything's going to look great for a while, but no, everything's going to be bad before this is over. You don't just clean out something like this in a month or two.
You think it'll take years?
It's certainly going to take many months. I think the average recession in America, again, to use that, has been 15 months or something like that. It's certainly going to be longer than 15 months before this is over.
Right.
It's not to say that when it's all over, we're not going to have huge booms and great recoveries and fantastic profits to be made by being long. It's in some places, but this rally, and I own this rally, but this rally is not the final say.
Right. And apart from precious metals, which you're buying, are there any other commodities which you're looking at? I mean, oil's at $20 a barrel.
Well, I'm not buying any commodities just because I'm lazy right now. Let's see, I did buy some gold and silver last week. I bought a shipping company, a Russian shipping company. I bought a Chinese wine company. You know, if I find things that are cheap, really cheap, I hope really cheap, I do step in and buy some things. I'm certainly looking, I mean, sugar's down something like 80% over the past many years. Sugar is not expensive. There's certainly going to be opportunities out there.
Right. Okay, so we'll end off there. Is there anything else you want to add to what's happening in the world, according to Jim?
Well, you should go wash your hands, okay? And tell everybody you know to wash their hands and be careful. I'm obviously worried about the virus. It is killing people, and many people are getting very sick. I'm more worried about the consequences, the economic consequences of the virus. As I said to you before, sometimes the cure can be worse than the disease. So I worry about I have children. I worry about me, but I certainly worry about my children because what they're doing, they're trying to get reelected. I'm worried about the future of my children. So everybody should be careful and everybody should be worried.
Yeah.
So let's do it again sometime, okay?
Thanks so much, Jim. Nice seeing you again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.